call this meeting to order. First order of business is Pledge Allegiance and moment of silence. Please stand with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1.2, adoption of agenda. Do we have a motion?
President, I move that we adopt the agenda as written.
All right.
I second it.
Moved by Mr. Stoner, second by Mr. Ibarra. Have any discussion? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 2, reports. 2.1, board reports. Do we have any reports? Start down at this end. No? Ms. Rico?
Got to go to the city championship softball at Gila Vista. Sorry to my daughter, but they were the Bad News Bears starting off, and they made their way up and ended up in the championship against Crane, and it was really awesome to see these girls kind of come together. Some of them had never even played the sport before, and to just see the camaraderie and the team work and the coach that just invested in them there. It was just so wonderful to see, and to see what it means when you give children the opportunity to play and the opportunity to be part of a team. Like, magical things can happen. And they didn't win, but the team they played had 6 or 7 travel ball players, and so what a wonderful thing to witness and to see the girls get second place. So that was really exciting.
Awesome. Mr. Ibarra?
Yes, on the 25th of September, I went to Carver Elementary School. Corey Rico and I went there for the Tunnel of Hope. Thank you, Mr. Buckley. We had a wonderful time there. On September 30th, we had a county board meeting in Somerton. And during this meeting, I was recognized as a person that went through the training. Only thing, when they were announcing the name, they were saying David Arugula. And I don't know where they got Ibarra to Arugula, so I'm sitting there wondering where this guy's at. And thank God Ms. Lagunas went and said his name's Ibarra. So I got my certificate, but I guess my nickname will be David Arugula. So it's Ibarra, por favor. Anyway, we had a good time there. We were the best table there, I'll tell you that. October 1st, I went to Custodian Appreciation Day. I visited Castle Dome Middle School, and I thanked all the custodians there. October 9th, I went on a ride-along with our school bus driver, Jamon Davis, who is a retired first sergeant of the Marine Corps. I rode on his bus, Tango 99, and we picked up students in the east end of town and transported them to Ron Watson Elementary. I was impressed on how Mr. Davis knew all of his passengers by first name basis. He's truly a consummate professional. I spoke with Rose Arevelo, and who is the administrative assistant for the Transportation Center, and the director of transportation, Mr. Ron Shepherds. They were very helpful. Thank you for allowing me to tour your facility again. And I was able to talk to 2 bus driver, Suri Bosquet, and her bus monitor, Elizabeth Sanchez. They showed me their pre-trip procedures before they even take that bus out of the bus barn. Before they even start going into service, they have a pad like this, and they have sensors outside the bus where they tap this iPad on the sensor, and it gives them a checkoff list of all the safety procedures they got to do before they go into service. They also have sensors in the inside of the bus. Very impressed. They were very thorough, and I thank them very much for showing me this procedure to ensure that our students are riding on safe buses. It was very, very, very good. Also, finally, I'd like to give a shout out to Edna Torres, who is a crossing guard at Woodard, and she does an excellent job. That is my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stoner?
Nothing to report this month. The storms have been keeping me busy in my other job.
Very, very well, thank you. All right, moving on to item 2.2, Superintendent's Report. We'll go 2.21, high five recognition. Ms. McCoy?
Good evening, Mr. President, governing board members. Figure out how to fit this here. I am excited to fill in for Luciana tonight to introduce you to our 5 high five employees this month. We have a short video to introduce you to our fantastic, incredible, valuable employees. So at this time, we'd like to call up each of our employees tonight, and they're going to receive their high five certificate, their high five t-shirt, and a $25 gift card from Chili Peppers, which we'd like to thank Chili Pepper again for sponsoring this program month after month for many, many years. So if we can give Chili Pepper a round of applause. From McGraw Elementary, we have Renee Dew.
I've been waiting.
Congratulations.
From Ron Watson, Chantel Holt.
Yes. Good job.
From ESS, Darcy Galvan.
Congratulations.
From Castle Dome, Kayla Geyer. And from Main Cafeteria, Elizabeth Gaxiola.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And if we can give one more round of applause for all of our high-fivers.
All right, we'll go to donation recognition. Mr. Ponder.
Yes, Mr. President and members of the board. So this month, we had 13 different schools receive donations. We had 31 total donations, ranging from $18 to $5,000, and the average size of that donation was $473, which came to a total of $14,658.56 for the month, and our year-to-date total is $46,034.95.
Amazing. All right. Art recognition, Mr. Ponder.
All right, so the artwork displayed this month is from students from Ron Watson Middle School, students in grades, students in grades 6 through 8, taught by Mrs. Ramos, worked on creating large-scale candy bars. So this might be one of my favorite pieces here. They explored why companies use bright, eye-catching colors for packaging and gained a deeper understanding of design and marketing. Students strengthened their math skills by using dilations to make the candy bars larger, calculating scale factors, and visualizing the similarities between the original and enlarged shapes. Also on display was artwork created by students from Raleigh Elementary School. They began the year with personalized projects. First graders explored positive and negative space. Second and third graders designed bubble-style names. And fourth and fifth graders created graffiti-style names. Students collaborated and discussed the beauty and differences in artistic expression. So they all did an amazing job. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Moving on to item 3, information items, enrollment report. Ms. Walden? Over here.
Good evening, Board President and members of the board. If you'll look at the enrollment report, it looks like we're down a little bit. But that's okay, because we budgeted to be down 2%, and so we're still looking for ways to beef up those student counts.
Awesome, okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, item 3.2, district financial trends. Ms. Walden.
Well, hi. Good evening, board president of the board and members of the board. If you'll notice on our financial trends report, We are looking about the same as we were looking last month. We have not been able to roll over our balances from last year yet. That's because tonight we're going to present the AFR, and then we have to finish our audit, which is in about a week. And that takes a couple of months usually. And so in December, I should be able to bring a revision to you with the rollover funds that are left over from last year.
December. And now to item 3.3, annual financial report. Ms. Walden.
Oh, sure. That'd be awesome.
Need help passing them out, or are you good?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I just need one of them, probably.
Oh, maybe. There you go.
Thanks. I love technology. It's great. I worked on this all day. And then when I went to print it, it got stuck. And so 323 pages of all the reports. And so I said, just stop. And I deleted my report.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's okay, because I got it done again. I knew most of the numbers already. So let's see. The report is a little bit hard to read. Hang on a minute. What do I have? Sorry. I do have a presentation to go along with the report. Okay, here we go. So the AFR is what we're going to talk about tonight, the annual financial report, and we're going to be going over some of the M&O, or maintenance and operation, the DAA, or the or capital, if you know it that way, planning, and then also the classroom site fund. I promise not to take a long time. I hear people yawning already. Okay, so M&O. On the May revision, we showed that our budget balance carry forward at that time projected was 13,206. But if you'll notice what I have presented there from the AFR, we actually have an ending balance in M&O of 14,663,253. So that's a difference of 1.4 million. So that's good. Why did that happen? Probably because there were things that were not closed, purchase orders that were still open, that we were paying on through August, and so that would cause that extra savings there. And then what is a plan for that money? Obviously, we have to always plan for the minimum wage increase. Excuse me. And schedule decompression, because as that minimum wage continues to increase, it's going to start bumping closer to the other wage categories. And so we'll have to be looking at moving those as well. Class size reduction evaluation, we're always looking to see what we can do about having lower class sizes. So, more one-on-one with the teacher for the student. We always have to plan for the economic downturn. I know that's the negative Nelly right there, but we have to plan for it. And then insurance, this year, last month I presented on insurance, and it doesn't look like, sunshine and roses. So we've got to plan for that as well. Any questions on the M&O? Okay, DAA or capital. So in the May revision, we showed there was approximately 7,180,000 that was left, but the AFR, we actually only have $3,661,030. The difference is 3.5 million. And here are some of the reasons for that. So we no longer use ESSER for our tech refresh, right? So for several years there, we just used the ESSER funds for our laptops and our one-on-one devices for the students, and we no longer have those funds. So we're using our capital. Also, we have some small capital purchases. We've got a couple of schools that get the money, $50,000 to make some small capital purchases that they wouldn't normally be able to do because they're smaller. We had a transportation propane project this last year that cost quite a bit of money. Ron Watson, the landscaping and remodel, we had those expenses. And then, of course, we purchased several used and new buses this last year, which is great. So what are we planning with what we have? Furniture refresh will continue to go on. I think we have 3 more years until we're done with that, including this year. And then we're always looking at the white fleet, making sure that, you know, as soon as vehicles start aging out, that we're able to buy something to replace it so that they're safe. We're always looking for bus replacements. We've got a lot of buses. We don't want to have those get old. SFOB, so sometimes there are some things that have to be done at the schools that the facility board doesn't necessarily, or they're not able to cover it, or they don't have budgeted enough money to cover the things that we need help with. So sometimes we have to supplement that. We're doing the carpet refresh. We started that last year. And then, of course, I already talked about the technology refresh. That's an every year thing. Any questions on capital?
On the transportation propane project, is that being fruitful? Is that something that we're enjoying? Is it working for us?
Ron, would you like to speak to that real quick?
That was a tank
Yeah,
and a
we're
large one.
definitely reaping the fruits of that project. The first part of that project was to put in the second bulk tank that we have.
Right.
So now we can order more fuel at a time, so we're not running on the lower side of the capacity of the tanks. We're operating on the upper side, so we make sure we have enough fuel on hand. And that is moving over into this year where we're putting in a couple of additional dispensers to fuel buses out of too, with that additional bulk that we have, because as we're buying new buses, a lot of them are propane, so we're actually getting to have more propane buses in our fleet than diesel.
Okay, so yeah, that was gonna lead into my next one of purchasing used and new buses. I'm assuming we're trying to purchase as many new as we can, and we're just getting the used ones because we have to?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay, thank you.
The only other thing I would add too is with the Price school build, there's a chunk of that money as part of the SFOB supplement as well, that we have to put 20% of the cost into the project in order to build the school. So that's roughly $2 million from us as well.
Okay, classroom site fund. So the May revision showed we had 16,447,000, but the AFR will show that we've got 9,168,000 left. So that's a difference of 7.2 million. And the reason for that is last year, the board approved the use of this year's money on this year's staff, and so we increased the amount of money going to teachers. Our planning is we will continue to increase the teacher compensation as resources allow. Since fiscal 24 and we're in fiscal 26, we've been able to raise the teacher pay by 6,000, demonstrating our commitment to investing in our educators and supporting their invaluable work. Any questions on that? Final thoughts. So obviously we're in a strong financial position, and that's great. We'll continue to be fiscally conservative and responsible. We'll always be looking to plan for those negative Nelly financial issues because we have to. And then future, like I said before, we're always looking at class size reduction. We'll be looking for hopefully no economic downturn, but you never know, so we got to plan for that. We'll be addressing the capital needs across the district as we can, and then we've always got a plan for that insurance piece. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. How do I do that? Close that.
All right, item 3.4, classroom behavior support update. Mr. Acosta?
Yes, sir. Mr. President, members of the school board, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak on behalf of a hope that we have, a project that we've been working on for a bit of time. And so later on in our meeting, you'll have a chance to discuss this in detail and see if we approve a possible option for our district to look at. So speaking of classroom behaviors, so let's meet little Johnny. Little Johnny. We all have a little Johnny story to go with. And little Johnny starts here.
This one. Child, you tell him to sit down. This is a perfect example. I've seen this happen. Sit in this chair. Kid goes like this.
No way.
And then you explode, right? Because you wanted them to sit over there. You ever get that chippy kid who says, well, you said sit in this chair. You didn't say where. And you just want to strangle him. At that point, what would you do?
What would you do? That's the question. So what would you do? You have little Johnny who was told to sit in the chair, and little Johnny goes and sits in the chair. He did what he was told. But we know what little Johnny is doing, right? So these occurrences that we're looking at since our little issue that we had with COVID, we're noticing a spike in trends when it comes to those types of behavior, those minimal types of things that just distract the classroom, and then our teachers are having to address that, and then you times that by 3 or 4 more students who are seeking that attention, or they're having that challenge in self-regulating. So based upon some reports that I was just looking at, here's just a data spotlight that I pulled up, and it's saying that these same teachers who worked in 2019 were surveyed again in 2021, 2022, and 2023. And so that was a criteria for the survey, and these are some of the results that this white paper came up with, which was interesting to look at. Not that it's a surprise to our teachers. So with that, also here's some additional stats that I had shared in a couple of reports that I had found. So I made a copy in case your vision is like mine and it's starting to get a little blurry from a distance. Ah, nice. Not working. They say it takes time. But the takeaways from this is the behaviors aren't uncommon. Right, so they're starting to increase in frequency, and this is adding stress to our workforce. Our teachers are feeling that. They're having to address and make those decisions constantly throughout the class period. These are becoming more and more distracting to our classrooms, which is causing instructional time to be lost. So looking at what are some things that we need to consider. So looking at these behaviors now, the behaviors that we're seeing are again, aren't those extreme cases where it's an automatic decision what you do. These are those gray areas, the ones that are just distracting to the classroom and constant. So with new management strategies, those are things that are for us to explore because the previous behavior strategies may not be working as much as we used to. Behavior issues, again, are continuing to that stress and that overwhelming feeling in the classroom, loss of instructional time. Those are all things for us to consider when we're looking at the classroom, how to support our teachers so they can focus on learning. So looking at an option for us, our team of district staff members have gotten together on multiple different occasions to discuss some options. And so our goal was looking for some meaningful supports that we can help our students to better manage themselves when it comes to behaviors and self-regulation strategies and techniques, but also to give our teachers a little bit more focus on instruction, so that way we can hopefully increase our learning. So when we look at our district as a whole, these are just some of the highlights I wanted to share with the group about what we already do. And there's a lot that's up there. And this is a 30,000 view look at across campuses from east, north, south, and west parts of our district. So all of them are represented in these tiers of supports. So in our tier 1, those are considered just the rules and regulations and guidelines and expectations and efforts that 90% of our kids will follow. Right? They just are compliant, and they will follow through almost 100% of the time. But there are some students who might need some targeted interventions, and those are some examples of what we do as a district to help those that are in that next tier of students that might just need additional support. And then we also have some students that have gone through some things, they've gone through some traumas, and they really need some individualized support. And so those are some efforts that our district does across, again, all grade levels in order to support our kids in helping them learn the skills that they need. What have we done in addition to that? So we have already added a district-based behavior specialist. In addition to that, we've hired her a team of 5 paraprofessionals that will all be district-based support. So if a classroom teacher is needing some support and they've used all their toolbox and they're not sure what else we can do, they request this support from the district office, and then our specialist will then team up with the principal and the teachers and observe, come up with a short plan, next steps, and what to do to support that teacher to help that kid. There could be a plethora of things that could go through. Plethora. Oh, I've been waiting to use that word. Okay, right? If you know, you know. If you don't, watch Three Amigos. Okay, with that, here's the proposed opportunities that we'd like to explore to the board and see if this is something that you would like for us to continue exploring and put into place. So we're calling it a student behavior response specialist. Now, we're looking at 5 to 6 people that we'd like to hire to be at 5 to 6 different sites. So those are for those cases where a student, I'll just give you an example I just recently saw. Little Johnny was having a really tough time, and he would not come out of the bathroom. He just would not. And here we are, have a counselor that would go in, and little Johnny was just not going to come out. And then we had an assistant principal that would go in. The principal would go in. They would just take turns just because we're trying to see what would be the right fit, that relationship that would help little Johnny come out of the bathroom. And he was just stressed. He was tired. He was stressed. He was irritable. He just needed some time to himself. So sometimes we have classroom teachers that are in their little bit of break that they do have to prepare lessons or make contact with parents, or they're filling in those roles too. They're filling in, sitting outside the bathroom, trying to coax little Johnny to come out that everything's okay. So this person would be on the site, so that way that person can be deployed right in that moment to help little Johnny work through that scenario, in hopes that we can build a relationship with little Johnny that feels trusted, that he feels comfortable with, and we can get him as quickly back into the classroom as possible. With the sports. So this is what we've been doing behind the scenes. So before school started, we met with all of our administrators, directors, and site leaders and discussed, here's some options. We brainstormed some things, and we came up with this idea. So this is a collective effort of a lot of brains coming together to see what we can do immediately with the funding that we do have. And so let me take a moment to say that. The proposal does not add any more budget demands. It is a neutral budget neutral positions that we're looking at and proposing. We ended a 10-year relationship with Ed Aliments. We felt that listening to our administrators, listening to our directors, and to our executive administrators, we felt that there's a different road that we can do, which is taking that $200,000 that we were investing in each and every year and put that directly into the classroom to support our kids and our teachers. So this is, again, budget neutral, what we're proposing. So September 19th, we met with multiple different focus groups of teachers, counselors, and instructional coaches. Those are the voices we really need at the table to make sure that what we have in mind is going to be beneficial, it's going to be effective in the classroom. So late September, early October, We followed up with an executive administrators meeting to discuss and listen into all the ideas that were shared. We created a job description, and we sent out an application for schools who might be interested in this. So applications are waiting to be reviewed depending upon what our board decides tonight. So, which is in one of our action items today. So pending upon board approval, then you can see everything else, the timeline that reaches from there. So with our behavioral specialists, response specialists, we're hoping that the immediate impact, these are some of the key performance indicators that we're hoping to accomplish with this person, with these people being added. This immediately impacts our kids. When it comes to how can it support the classroom teacher, these are some ideas that came into our discussions that we had with all of our focus groups. One of the biggest things is oftentimes when a student needs a moment, they might be sent out of the classroom. They might be out there for 5 minutes, they might be out there for longer, right? Depending upon what that kid's needs are. But we're not actively working for that child to get back into the classroom. Here, this person can be deployed to that classroom, and they can actively work with that child, building that relationship, coming up with some ideas on how to regulate themselves. That way we can get back in the classroom with little to no disruption. And the teacher continues to teach the 29 other kids. That's the biggest piece. Our counselors are outnumbered, we know that. The state says that the best ratio is 25 to 1. We know that we do not have a 25 to 1 ratio from counselors to students. So this is an extension of that person as well to help them focus on those smaller, more consistent behaviors, so our counselors can focus on the larger challenges that our students are facing, that where their skills and their strengths can be applied to those cases. And then also in the hopes that our administrators would then have even more time to get into classrooms to help with instructional leadership. Our possible desired outcomes, and again, once we hear from the board about what direction you would like us to lead in, we would come up with some desired outcomes that we could target and measure to make sure that we are being effective with the position that we have. And if so, maybe even expand upon it to even more classes or more campuses. So the job description is in our board items, but we are looking for somebody who would like a full-time job, who wants to help kids. We're offering the benefited employees. We're offering all the benefits. One of the things we are requiring is that they do have a substitute certificate or will be getting a substitute certificate before starting. So that way we can make sure that they can be alone with kids and they can have those conversations if the teacher is not available to supervise. So what we're looking for is Mr. Jensen. Maybe you know Mr. Jensen. Mr. Jensen is somebody who we'd love to see in our classrooms working with our kids. And the impact that...
I have a lot of memories from when I was a child. One that's always stuck out to me, though, was when I was about 10 years old. And I was in school, and I struggled. And I didn't struggle with English, math, or science. I struggled holding still. And I would try to listen and focus and process ideas, but I couldn't help myself. And to be honest, I would sit there and then I would just start tapping. And the students in the class would look at me and they'd say, "Hey, stop tapping." A lot of the time, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then eventually even the teachers got after me and they would yell at me and they'd say, "Hey, you have to stop tapping." It got so bad that I got sent to the principal's office for tapping. And he said to me, "Okay, maybe when you go back to class, just try sitting on your hands." So I did. I went back to class, and when I felt myself starting to tap, I just did this. I said, "Oh, thanks." And that worked for about 5 seconds. One time I was tapping in class, and my teacher, Mr. Jensen, looked at me and he yelled. And he said, "Clint, stay after class." And I thought to myself, this is it. I am done. I've always been the type of person that believes that a single moment in time can change a person's life. And this was one of those moments for me that I will never forget. So I was sitting there with Mr. Jensen and an empty classroom. And he walked past me and he sat next to his desk and he said, Clint, come here, and I'll talk to you. And as he looked me right in the eye, he said, you know, I need you to know something you're not in trouble. But I do have just one question that I have to ask you. And I asked, he said, have you ever thought about playing the drums? And in that moment, Mr. Jensen, he leaned back and he opened the top drawer of his desk. And he reached in and he pulled out my very first pair of drums. And he held them in his hands and he looked at me and he said, "You're not a problem. I think you're in trouble." From that moment on, I never put those sticks down. I've toured, played drums all over the world. My whole college education was paid for with drumsticks in my hand. Just because of a single moment in time when somebody believed in me, and they saw something in me that I didn't even see within myself. And from that moment, I learned that there's a difference between being the best in the world and being the best for the world.
So we're looking for Mr. Jensen or Mrs. Jensen. Here's an opportunity, I think, that talking to all of our stakeholders from all of our sites and departments, here's an opportunity we think we can help our classroom teachers, in addition to help our kids find the success in the streets that they have within them. That concludes my presentation for tonight.
Thank you.
Can I just add one thing? So page 90 on the consent agenda is where you'll see the job description, and that's where you'll vote on it. It's not an action item. It's in the consent agenda. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear to you guys. So that's where you'll be able to vote once you, now that we've done that. So just so you guys are aware. Yeah, page 90.
Yep.
Yeah, I read through that. So with this position, if it gets approved, will we receive monthly, quarterly feedbacks? How are we, the board, going to know how this program is moving along?
So we'd be happy to provide feedback as often as you'd like. So if that is in a monthly report, we can do that. Probably wouldn't start till maybe January-ish, so we have a little bit of time to kind of get some steam and provide some input. We're working on finalizing what data we're going to collect to make sure that we fully understand whether or not it is having an impact. Some of that data is, objective, some may be a little bit more subjective, but putting it all together to get a determination. So however often you would like a report, we'd be happy to provide that to you.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not monthly, and if it needs to go to quarterly after that. But anytime we bring on more, use resources for staff with a new program, I think it's important that the board tracks it.
Sure.
I've got a few questions here, so bear with me. How are you going to measure success?
It's a very good question. Part of that is feedback from the teachers, the counselors, the staff involved at the school, kids that are adapting to whatever we can provide, what we're able to utilize the position for, how well does the child adapt to any kind of skills that they might learn to be able to be in that classroom. Because ultimately the goal is to make sure that they can stay in their classroom with their peers. And so what tools can we provide? How can we help? How can this position help that student be able to remain in the classroom? And then the other aspect of that is the impact it has on the other students in the classroom, what we report. And that's part of the subjective nature of it too, getting feedback from teachers as well. And then I think looking at academic progress, maybe even attendance of the students involved and how well how that's impacted. and how that looks as we move forward. So those are the kinds of things that we're looking at. Is the student more engaged? Is the student learning? Is the student in school more? Does it have those kinds of positive impacts? What do we hear from our staff in terms of what kind of an impact it's having on the child that they're noticing? And then also the other students in the class, what impact that we can measure both subjectively and objectively for that. So Danny, would you add anything?
Yeah, the others I would put in would be more like our numbers, our office referrals for this child specifically. Are we getting less of them? Our counselors do a wonderful job when it comes to what we call check-in, check-out. So they meet with the child every day. This person would be meeting with the child and the children every day. Here's your goals that we set for this week. How are we accomplishing those goals based upon rating scales that teachers would then fill in 1 out of 5. You know, they accomplished their goal for the day, and each day would have tally marks about how they did for the day. So those are just some data points that we would say case by case that we could easily report back out.
Okay. The other one is training. So you can't just take anybody and put them in this position. I assume you have some sort of training syllabus?
Yeah, well, not a syllabus, but we are looking at a partnership. Yeah, we are looking at a partnership. That was absolutely one of our first things that came up, which there's a lot of them. There's a lot that's out there that talks about managing student behaviors. So we're looking at a partnership that looks at a possible an assessment that is done with the child about looking at their strengths. What are they strong with? Maybe they're auditory learners. Maybe they're physical learners. Maybe they're kinesthetic types of learners. So what is their strengths that they have, their interests that they have, and then using that in order to guide their path as far as forward goes. So the biggest thing is going to be the trainings with the specialists that they would then be, this company would be able to provide. So it's relatively cheap. It is really the fee is based upon each individual kid, so we can really target how many students we're looking at rather than large purchases of bulk slots and materials that come with it. And then they would come in and help support the trainings that go into this. In addition to that, we are hearing from our counselors, we're looking at 2 different resources that we would love to explore district-wide in order to help students. One is building on resiliency, so believing that they can get through difficult times, that they have the belief in themselves to overcome negative thinking. In addition to that, we're exploring the curriculum regarding zones of regulation. Of course, we'll bring those to you guys, but those are 2 things that we're looking at that our counselors are really keen on and high on, and then that would kind of systematically, it will give us a systematic approach in how we deliver our lessons to our kids. So as I mentioned in the report and in the presentation, this position will be an extension of the counselor, so they'll be working with that person and getting hands-on training with that person as well. So our kids have individual goals that they're meeting with their counselor, and this person will be go into the classroom and then deliver those reaffirming skills inside the classroom in real life. Oftentimes we take people out of the real life situation, get them trained, and then expect them to go in and be able to pull those skills out when there's so many variables. This is now going to put the trainer inside the classroom with the kid as well to help them when they need those moments of support. So zones of regulation, resiliency curriculums, in addition to, it's a company, DESA is the name of the company that we're looking at exploring, DESSA.
Okay, that was my follow-up question, is are we using this company currently, but
Nope.
not yet?
Nope. All depending upon the vision and the decision made tonight, and then we can fill you in, and Mr. Ponder can fill you in regarding what those curriculums, what those programs look like for review.
Okay. That's all the questions I have, right? Does anybody else have any questions?
Can you bring up a screen where it showed the qualifications of the candidate?
Sure. Absolutely. Happily.
So the requirements, first I want to say, I'm 100% in favor of doing whatever we can for our teachers to give them a better life, especially in the classroom, give them the controls they need. With that, we're looking for a positive behavior support specialist to be able to help these children that are having some bad days, let's say. But the requirements of that specialist is just to be a substitute certificate, a high school diploma, and a fingerprint. I would think that we'd be probably wanting somebody with a little bit more experience, maybe in behavioral health or something in that avenue that, like you said, you have Johnny in the bathroom. The assistant principal went over there and couldn't get him out. The teacher couldn't get him out. The principal couldn't get him out. Johnny knows the teacher more than anybody. And now you're going to send this person that Johnny doesn't even know to try to get him out that doesn't have any behavioral health experience. So I don't know. To me, I would think that we would be looking for somebody with a little more experience than a substitute certificate. And I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I understand that they're going to have some training, but coming right out of the gate with that training, they're going to be playing catch up.
Sure. Yep.
So I would like to see some better requirements. If we're going to have somebody in there that's going to be a behavior support specialist, they should have some behavioral health experience, in my opinion.
And we hope so too, that they'll be applying with better qualifications too. So this is the bare minimum. This is just opening the doors to maybe even some of our paras that are currently on site that already has relationships with teachers and with kids. So that was kind of an opportunity for those who may be part-time right now, who are exploring full-time because they love their sites, they love their kids, they love the people that they're working with. They might want to explore this based upon the qualifications that we're presenting. We are definitely going to prefer anybody who has some behavioral health experience already, but these would just be the bare minimum requirements to help screen some of the candidates that we'd like to interview.
So those ESS paras would be a prime candidate, I would say, to move up.
Yep, they would be definitely somebody who we would love to meet with. Depending upon of course, their references and the principals and administrators they work with and their perspectives that they have to share too.
Yeah. Just so I understand, earlier you had mentioned, because the counselors they take the heavy work, if you will, and then these specialists are going to take some of the low-hanging fruit, the simpler day-to-day situations and challenges, but in a situation where if a child doesn't come out of little Johnny doesn't come out of the bathroom, that wouldn't be the specialist, that would be the counselor. Something that escalates would become, is that accurate?
Yeah, that would definitely be our vision for it. Once it gets to the point where it's beyond their scope of abilities to manage, that's where the expert would come in to support.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying. Don't want to hire more counselors for low-hanging fruit, some of the day-to-day simpler things that takes less training qualifications to do more relationship building with the children without having somebody who's a full counselor. And of course, that comes with the counselor's salary to take some of that load off the counselors. That's what I understood you were telling.
Yes, sir. That's just, we're hoping to open up the floodgates so we can get the best quality candidates we can, knowing that, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted a full-time job, because it might be somebody who's a retired counselor who doesn't want to do everything else that goes involved with counseling, all the meetings and all the paperwork and everything else, but they really want to help kids. That might be another opportunity for us to explore.
Okay.
That's kind of helping me to understand a little bit more too, that, the low-hanging fruit, as you call it, that was going to be my next question, I guess, or comment was, you're talking about interruptions in the classroom, some behavioral, minor behavioral, I guess.
Yes.
But when you start getting into more aggressive actions, person-to-person aggressions, things like that, this is not something that we're talking about tonight, right?
Absolutely not. That would be an administrator that would need to handle those.
Okay.
Question?
You're the educator. You want to go first and I'll go?
Thank you for the presentation and the information. You mentioned 2 other positions, the district behavior support specialist and the deployment team. And those are new for this year? So those folks are just getting their feet on the ground and understanding their job descriptions and their roles?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with this position, how is this position aligned to this team?
So we're in discussions whether the behavioral specialist would also look at overseeing this group to help with the training aspect of it. But the immediate supervision would come from the school from the school principals. Those are the people who will be deploying to classrooms to help with special situations. The district behavioral specialist is overseeing a group of 5 other team members, and they would be housed under right now we're looking at our ESS umbrella, so that way we can support those behaviors in that area.
Okay. And then financial, fiscal responsibility. This was money that was used to support another program that was brought in by the district. And you mentioned an application process. How many schools, could every school, if they applied, be supported with the specialist?
Yes, ma'am. Every school could apply. They had, I think it was about a week and a half to submit the application. It was about 8 questions through a Google form that we have. There was like 3 reminders that were sent to all the school sites. And we had, I want to say, 12 schools that applied.
Okay. Thank you.
And just to clarify, so all schools can apply, but we're only looking at possibly 5 positions initially, and then depending on the feedback and the data, if it shows success, then we would grow that to make that available at every site. But initially, we're only looking at hiring about 5 or so positions to pilot it, which would offset the $200,000 that we took from the other program.
Okay.
Yep.
And those positions would cover one school?
Yes, it's 1 person per
Okay, so
school
the
right now.
pilot,
5 schools.
5
Five
schools,
different
the pilot
schools.
program's gonna be 5 schools?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, 1 per school, and then we want to see how that, kind of works throughout the school, different locations, demographics, that kind of stuff, and see what impact it has. Yep.
$200,000 or just those 5?
Correct.
Because Ms. Anderson, you just asked if that 200,000 was for all 18 schools, and the answer was yes, the number was 5.
So I think what Danny was thinking is, are all schools eligible to participate? And the answer to that would be yes. But right now, the $200,000 is to cover the pilot program, which is 5 positions. Then if the program, after those 5 positions, if the data shows that it's helping and it's supporting the students and the teachers, then we would look at utilizing resources that we have with our own budget to make that available at all 18 schools.
Are you already looking down that road?
That's what we want to do, yeah. We're planning to move in that direction. We just need some data to affirm what we think is going to be supportive, but that's what we have to find out first. But we're prepared to hire 1 at each school if that's if the data shows that this program is supporting that, yep.
I just wanted to, thank you for, in a time where these things are being cut, that you're making it a priority. It's a pilot, and so I think that it's doing more than what we've ever had, which is incredible. To the point around qualifications, seeing what financially you can do within the $200,000, I think it's realistic, though we would love to have someone with more, or I would love to have someone with more credentials within I see the salary range. It's hard, with what's available. I think there's some opportunities, and I think this could be an offline, town hall or something like this where, there's some partnerships going on within the Yuma County Anti-Drug Coalition and Yuma County Mental Health Coalition. Just went to a meeting today around the co-responder training that was just launched by YFT and YPD, where they really are targeting, they have officers and trained paramedics that are getting deployed in these behavior type situations as preventative efforts. And to me, I see this not just as low-hanging fruit, but like prevention is key. Intervention has to happen because of the reality of the world, but like if we can prevent a child from getting to the state of being aggressive by making these choices, we're changing the world. And so to me, I think this is a start. I think that this is something that in the future we can scale. I really recommend conversations. We have some excellent and I think free opportunities along with the training that you talked about, which is great. And I think in-person live role-playing action is going to be key to piloting this, but also like trauma-informed care. We have a lot of therapists in Yuma that can do that. Adverse childhood experiences training, the ACEs training. I think these are partnerships that we can do free of charge. And so if I can help in any way, if this is passed, to be able to kind of get the low-hanging fruit that's free in the community. There's a lot of work being done with partnerships outside of this. We know the data, he said it today, about 1 consistent adult it did not take rocket science to say, have you ever thought about being a drummer? You know, and that was my child, you know, and that's like the teacher's like, here's some drumsticks. And so now we have a drum set. But like, that's what shifts. That's what changes the trajectory of a child. So we're doing something. Thank you for making this a priority and starting somewhere. And I'm excited to kind of see this passes where we can continue to enhance it and address it and then see how we can tweak it. So thanks.
All I got to say is that I think we have a lot of talented people within our district that has a lot of on-the-job training that would be perfect for this position. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Nope. All right, thank you for the presentation. We'll move on to item 3.5, Purple Star Recognition. Mr. Ponder.
Mr. President, members of the board, congratulations to Woodard Junior High School for earning the Purple Star designation. They are the 11th school in the district to receive this recognition, and we're thrilled to have them join this program, which honors and supports schools that demonstrate a strong commitment to students and families connected to our military community.
Excellent, thank you.
You have a banner.
We have a banner.
Banners and picture time?
Oh,
You have a photo op.
I have to take a picture.
Indeed. And they're even wearing their purple. They're ready.
See where they go.
Good job. You want to stand, you can stand in front of me if you want.
They kind of color coordinated.
Excellent. 11th school, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Moving on to item 4, call to the public. Read through a few of the subject here, and I think I need to read the bottom paragraph as a reminder. No oral presentations shall include charges or complaints against any employee of the district, regardless of whether or not the employee is identified in the presentation by name or other reference that tends to identify. All charges or complaints against an employee shall be submitted to the board under provisions of Board Policy KEB. So with that, we will go to call the public. We have 3 of them. Ms. Felix? Oh, hello.
Yeah. I think I've gotten acquainted with some of you folks. Well, that makes it hard, right? If we can't call anybody to be accountable, we can't name who they should be to be accountable, I think. That's a problem. The other problem is, I don't know if you guys realize this, but there's actually no place on the agenda for parents to write at the open to public online. Is there a reason why that's not available online?
I haven't thought about it.
You know why that's not available?
I'm actually not allowed to speak on anything for call to the public. We just listen and take your information, but we're not allowed to speak on anything.
Okay, very well. So regarding accountability, who does that then?
Again, we're not allowed to engage in conversation on call to the public.
Well, that makes it hard, doesn't it? For parents to bring concerns and suggest, so who do we call besides the board to hold anybody accountable in the district? The Attorney General? The auditors?
We always recommend parents contact the schools first, if it's a school level. If it's district, contact the superintendent, or also the board members. Myself, I'm available. And those are the processes. We have complaint reports in the policy if there's a formal complaint that needs to be done. So those are all
What if
available.
nobody addresses those issues? What do parents do then?
It's in the policy. So if the complaint process isn't followed,
So we'll just go up the chain of command, right? And keep doing that. But no accountability, nobody. For the parents that were here in August or last month? No? Is there a reason why this board elected not to have parent engagement for the Title I participation?
again, we can't get into a discussion, open meeting laws.
So that's not available to parents to be engaged? For example, this program here, isn't there already something? Circle of Friends offers that through the state, right? The positive reinforcement. And they do the training for our paras and the teachers, or that's online at the Department of Education. Have you heard, are you familiar with that, Superintendent Ponder? I think it's called Circle of Friends, Family.
So again, with call to the public, we're not allowed to have a conversation with you. That's the law. Our job is to sit and listen to what information you'd like to share. So I can't have a conversation or engage in that with you. I'm sorry.
Well, I am aware that there is a program online already that's offered to, right, for free, I think. It's already paid for by the Department of Education and the state. Okay. Well, up the chain we go. Thank you. Sorry, you guys couldn't help me.
Alvarez?
Good evening, President and members of the board. I'd like to, first of all, congratulate you because I saw a lot of beautiful things on here that were said and that are being planned on being done. I would like to say that for the position that they were talking about, I know that you guys were requesting a higher degree and stuff, but sometimes it just takes a person that truly cares more than a degree, because in my experience over 20 years of working in the community, working with families in behavioral health, in advocacy with the state, with children with disabilities, and just with many, many different roles, I could tell you I've seen a lot where there's people that have a degree and still don't give their best, like somebody who is truly cares for the kids and wants to make a difference. So with that said, I know that I can't point anybody out, but I am here, unfortunately, because of an issue that I could see the concern when we're trying to bring it up to a lot of people. And there's certain people that, yes, they respond to you and they kind of direct you in a certain way, but then those other people send you to somebody in specific, and those people don't even get back to you. It's been almost a month and you haven't heard a response. So when you guys, I understand you guys can't answer our questions here because it's per a rule, but then it's very frustrating as a parent or as a person in the community when we do reach out we're going at the chain of command and we still don't get a response. Where you've already gone to the teacher, you've gone to the principal, you've gone to the board, you've gone to whoever, the superintendent, you've gone to the people that you have to go, and nobody really gets back to you. And the ones that do, you have them recorded where they say all these different stories at different times, and also where a child is being mistreated. Right now, you guys showed a video about a Johnny, which I do too in my job. I show videos of a Johnny and a Billy, and the difference that the way that as a safe adult, we interact with those children, how much of a difference it makes in their life. Like that drummer. Right now, one of the members said it didn't take any any special, it just took somebody that cared and that asked, what about drumming? That's all that it takes sometimes. And so, unfortunately, this kid was mistreated by a teacher. And the only thing that I'm going to say is I already tried going through all the chain of commands. I have recordings where this teacher is yelling in the classroom and belittling, not just yelling, but belittling. If this was your kid and the teacher is yelling at a specific kid, 9 minus 1, what is the answer? That is not a safe place. And children need a safe place to learn, especially when it's a first grader. And this is not just my kid, but other kids in that classroom. And I know that there's been a lot of complaints against this school, but then when you call certain people and nothing gets done, then people give up and they change their kid to a different school. And unfortunately, I've been an advocate all my life, pretty much. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to make sure that these kids are being taken care of, that these kids, I don't care, I understand the teachers are under stress. The teachers they have too many kids. Kids now come with problems. In the role that I'm in right now, I try to teach parents a lot about your role as a parent is to educate these kids behavioral-wise, be there, be present, be an active parent, do all these things, because you can't just send them to school and expect the teacher to do all the work. The teacher's here to do academics. But then unfortunately, the way that we're living now, teachers are having to deal with certain with not just academic, but behaviors. And we talked about this right now. And thank you for making that a priority, because it is a priority, not just for the kids, but the teachers' behaviors as well. Either because they're under stress, because they've served too long and they're done, I don't know. But something needs to be done, because these kids, I'm one to go out in the community and show ages 0 to 5, 0 to 6, brain grows 90%. And if we have a safe adult that they're supposed to have in their life, we're sending them to school as a parent, knowing that they're going to school to a safe person, and this safe person is yelling at them, hurry up, move your feet, I know you walk faster than this, I have the recordings. So this is going to go way higher than this, because this is unacceptable. And unfortunately, you guys had to listen to it this way. But I tried going the chain of command, and I got nobody that got back to me. And I asked even, can I volunteer? I have experience. I have my fingerprints. I have everything to volunteer in the classroom. No, because you would be a distraction for the children. But the teacher yelling and mistreating the kids is not a distraction and is not hurting kids, because I have all those recordings. And when you ask a principal, how come you didn't do anything about this? Because this wasn't a priority. Because if it would have been physical, and I have the recording as well, that would have been a priority. But it was yelling, sternness. There's a big difference between yelling and sternness and mistreating and belittling kids. Big difference. And when you sit with these people, then they're not wanting to do anything about it, then I need to move forward. And if I'm coming here, I understand you guys volunteer. You guys are not getting paid. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for giving your time, because you want to be with your families too. I get it. I work. I have my families. I have my family that I need to take care of. But then when we volunteer, and I say it because I also volunteer at this same school under Good News Club, which is we do ministry for children. So I also volunteer, and not just there, I volunteer at a lot of places. But when we volunteer, that means that we're committed, that we really want to make a difference, that we're truly here to hear people and to do something about it, not just to take note and then just take it back and forget about it. And I understand you guys aren't aware of everything because you guys are the board and this goes through certain routes, but then when it's brought here, I hope that somebody actually does something and it gets fixed, because it's gonna go higher than that and it's not gonna be pretty. Because I've advocated for so many kids in this community. You best believe I'm gonna advocate for mine. And it's not pretty. Those recordings that I have, not cool. When the principal's telling you that's not a priority, I clock out at 4, I have to leave. What about your other employee? Your employee was notified. Oh, she forgot. She left and she forgot. How do you forget as a mandated reporter? You forget before you leave the workplace where you work with children, you forget that a parent came in and made a complaint because a teacher was mistreating a child outside. How do you forget as a mandated reporter? And how, as a mandated reporter and a principal, another person comes to you that same specific day, that same time frame, and tells you, hey, a child was being mistreated and this is what happened. I want to know what's gonna happen with this. And then she decides she needs to go home because it's time to clock out. You know how many times I stayed till 6 or 7 or 8? Because it's not just about clocking out, it's that child's safety. And I don't care if it wasn't physical. If that person, that teacher was yelling and mistreating how she yells in that classroom, that was not just being stern. That was not just being stern. And so I'm just very upset at this fact, and I'm not gonna let it go. I said it before. And I'm gonna go, if I need to go to the news, I need to bring it to the news. If I need to go to the superintendent for Yuma County, I'm gonna go to that. If I need to go to the Capitol, like I've gone to advocate for families and for kids, for education, I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna do whatever needs to be done. Because somebody needs to do their job and somebody needs to care for these kids. So that is it, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Ponder, can you reach out to Ms. Alvarez and find out, get the details on this and get back with the board? Excuse me. Please pardon me. Corona's.
No, Rosario.
Oh, it's
Rosario.
backwards. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was first. Rosario, I'm sorry. I was looking at the, it was last name, first name.
Hi. Good evening. This last month, I needed to file a non-discrimination complaint, and I had a very difficult time finding any of the forms on the District 1 website. So I feel that as parents, you should have a tab where we can go in and look at where your policies and procedures are for grievances and all the complaint forms. I was not able to get it online. As much as I researched, I had to actually reach out to the superintendent to be able to get that form. If you guys don't make those forms easily available for parents, we're not going to be able to voice our problems that we're having with the school district. And also, I feel that there needs to be, what are your policies when a grievance is filed? Within how many days are we going to have a correction? And I'm assuming it depends on the gravity of the complaint, right? A discrimination complaint versus maybe something that's a little different as far as the severity. So I could not find any of that information on just the Yuma District 1 website. And I feel for parents, we have that right to be able to access those forms without having me to email Superintendent Ponder, wait for him to send it to me. And how about he sends the form that's not the one that I need. So I feel that that should be accessible to us parents and not just be within your control. Hopefully, if that's something you could put on the agenda for next week or next month and give us an update by when we would have access to those forms online. We would appreciate it.
Thank you. Those are the only 3 forms I have. Is there anybody else that wishes to come to call the public? No? Okay. We will move on to item 5, consent agenda. Approval of these items are of routine nature and those that normally do not require deliberation on part of the governing board. A board member may pull items which will be discussed and voted on separately. Are there any items that a board member wishes to pull? No? Then do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I would like to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
All right, so moved by Mr. Stoner and seconded by Ms. Rico. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, item 6, action items. 6.1, second read of policy advisors 819 through 914. Mr. Ponder, you gonna read them all?
No, sir. Not unless you're requesting me to.
300 pages.
Mr. President, members of the board, the governing board of Yuma Elementary School District utilizes the services of the Arizona School Boards Association to maintain its governing policies and advise the district upon recommended changes. Policy advisories are sent to member school districts and governing board members multiple times throughout the year, usually to respond to changes in law. This agenda item serves as a second read for the proposed policy changes. ASBA's policy advisories 819 through 914 are available on the district's website to facilitate community or employee input. So you do have in front of you this other section with the orange lines, which are the proposed changes that we received. So you could make a motion to accept the original version or the modified version, however you'd like. So it is recommended that the governing board approve and adopt these policy advisories.
So do we have a motion?
A motion that we approve these policies.
Can I just ask, are you, to clarify, are you the original version or the version that's presented in front of you in orange with the recommendations that were presented?
Presented to me in orange.
The one in orange, all right, thank you. Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Questions, comments? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, item 6.2, consideration to approve the 24-25 annual financial report. Ms. Walden.
That was like a stare.
I had to look at the agenda to make sure I didn't read the wrong line.
All right. Would you like me to read it for you? Okay. That's small. In accordance with ARS 15-904, Arizona school districts are required to prepare and submit an annual financial report to the Arizona Department of Education. It is recommended that the governing board approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 annual financial report as presented earlier in the meeting.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the annual financial report.
I second it.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 6.3, School Bus Safety Week Resolution 2025. Mr. Acosta.
Mr. President, members of the school board, if I can please have the esteemed Ron Sheepers report to the podium for an annual tradition that we are starting here with School District 1.
Just the arrows? Okay, all right. Said the arrows, right?
literally became stopping. Going past the school, just feet away from Florida. They don't even stop. They don't slow down. Watch again. You can see the stop sign extended from the side of the stop bus. Movement. This is right past it. If you want to take one more thing, my daughter bike, Josephine Kirkane posted the video to social media to warn other parents, which soon went viral. But videos of cars caught speeding near school buses are new because the moments happen often. Take this video out of Ohio earlier this year. A speeding semi slammed into the back of the school bus as two young children were hopping off. In 2018, a father captured his 7-year-old almost getting hit by a car speeding right past the bus's stop sign. A 2019 survey of school bus drivers in 39 states found that over 95,000 vehicles passed the buses illegally on a single day. That's an estimated 17 million violations during the school year. Some accidents ending in tragedy. Last October, 3 children were killed, steps away from their school bus. Lena's mother, who truly serves as a warning to both parents and drivers.
And that mom
says even if she
got video and
captured
captured
the
the license
license
plate,
plate,
police told her
they couldn't do anything.
All right, so we think sometimes those kind of videos right there are about places that are someplace else. Well, here in Yuma, this year alone, since the beginning of the school year, our drivers have reported over 300 incidences where cars go right past the stop sign at where we're loading and unloading students. So at any given time, these things that we saw in these videos could happen here in this community. We've had over 900 different incidents reported by our bus drivers in any single year in previous years too. So it's an ongoing issue and it's something that's really not going away. So how does this kind of work into School Bus Safety Week? Well, School Bus Safety Week was instituted by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in 1966. And the purpose is to recognize not only the transportation districts or the transportation departments and their personnel, but also to promote school bus safety awareness. So in Yuma, we have over 240 employees that work in our transportation department. That's with the drivers, the monitors, our mechanics, our shop personnel, and our office personnel. And we travel with about 180 buses, and we maintain those and over 400 different vehicles and different equipment in the districts. Now, it seems like a lot, but we do have a consortium that we work with the high school district and the elementary district, and this is combined numbers. We do travel over 2 million miles, and that's about 600 trips back and forth to school every day with our school buses. And we also do extracurricular activity runs and athletic runs for all hours in the night. So other part of the School Bus Safety Week we have with the collaboration of safety, we have been working with our local law enforcement, Yuma PD and Yuma County Sheriff, to help with those stop sign violations that we have. Now, one of the things in that video that it didn't really get to at the end, there's a statement that commentary made that the reason that the police department couldn't do anything about it because they couldn't identify who was driving, even though they had a video and they knew what car it was. Well, similar here in Arizona, the police have to actually see the infraction happen to do something about it. So we take these over 300 different reports that we have in this year, and we give them to the different police departments so they can monitor the stop locations, and the Yuma Police Department actually has some of their officers ride on the school bus, and then when they see a stop sign violator, they'll call somebody and they'll come and pull them over. So if they get pulled over, it starts at $250 fine up to $1,000 and a year of their driver's license suspended. So the other thing that we're doing to promote the safety is this is a stop sign, I guess, requirement type of brochure that we have. We made a bunch of trifolds. We'll put them out into school buildings and different places in the community that people can have and just refresh their memory on when they need to stop for a school bus. And in general, or just basically, You always have to stop for a school bus on the same direction or the opposite direction unless there's a physical barrier between the lanes. That's a medium, that's a curb, that's any kind of a physical barrier in between. So that's kind of where we're at with the school bus safety. And now I would like to read to you the resolution for your approval. Whereas the safety of our children is a paramount importance to our community and society as a whole. And whereas school bus transportation is the safest form of ground transportation available and a vital means of transportation for millions of students, ensuring they have access to education. And whereas the exemplary performance of more than 200 bus operators and transportation staff ensure the safe, efficient transportation of Yuma Elementary District 1 students. And whereas ensuring the safety of students while traveling to and from school is a shared responsibility of parents, students, educator, and the broader community. And whereas School Bus Safety Week provides an opportunity to educate students, parents, and the public about the importance of safe behaviors around school buses. Now therefore be it resolved that the Governing Board of Yuma Elementary District 1 hereby proclaim October 20th through the 24th, 2025, as School Bus Safety Week, and call upon the citizens, educators, parents, and students to observe this week with activities, discussions, and initiatives that promote and emphasize school bus safety. Let's work together to ensure that every child can travel to and from school safely on our school buses. By raising awareness and adhering to safety rules, we can reduce and protect the well-being of our students.
Thank you. I will move that we approve the School Bus Safety Week resolution. Do we have a second?
I second it.
All right. Moved by myself, seconded by Mr. Ibarra. Any discussion? I'd like to say that crossing the street, whether it's to a bus or crosswalk, through the neighborhoods, that's when our children are most vulnerable. How many people are looking at their phones? How many people go past a bus that don't know that they did? That's the most dangerous scenario, because they're not paying attention. And we see it every day. So thank you for bringing this to the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, item 6.4, National School Lunch Resolution. This is my favorite. Ms. Castaneda.
All right. Good evening, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Taylor Castaneda, and I am proud to serve as the Child Nutrition Coordinator for Yuma School District 1. One of my key responsibilities is developing unique, nutritious, and appealing breakfast and lunch menus for our elementary and junior high students. This work involves much more than just picking meals each day. It includes researching new menu items, staying up to date with the ever-evolving federal nutrition regulations, managing cost, collaborating with our incredible staff, and most importantly, listening to student feedback. Through all of this, I've thoughtfully created a fun and flavorful menu in honor of National School Lunch Week, which is a nationwide celebration that shines a spotlight on the importance of school meals and encourages students to enjoy eating lunch in the school. Yuma School District 1 will be celebrating this special week from October 14th, today, through Friday the 17th with the theme, Taste the World, Your School Lunch Passport. Throughout this week, our menus will feature flavors from around the globe, including influences from Mexico, Italy, China, Japan, and America. Thanks to student taste testing and feedback, we're introducing some new and exciting items, such as today, the shredded beef and salsa roja tamale, and on Thursday, a chicken ramen. We'll also serve some of our classics and student favorites, such as spaghetti and hamburgers. This gives students a chance to step outside their comfort zones and try something new and taste the world, all while enjoying the familiar foods they love. We're also proud to showcase our talented staff's made-from-scratch cooking skills. A little-known fact about our district, since its founding, our child nutrition team has continued the tradition of scratch-made meals. At each site, we have hand-picked bakers that hand-pinch each hamburger bun and shape every French bread loaf. before baking it fresh for our students. It's a labor of love that sets our meals apart. And of course, every meal will be accompanied by our full fruit and veggie bar stocked with fresh produce. These offerings may also reflect the day's featured culture, helping them round out and enhance each meal. We're truly excited about the opportunity this week provides to broaden our students' palates and perspectives. So please help us in celebrating by encouraging your students to try something new and join us for lunch. So now the formal part. Here's the proclamation. Whereas the National School Lunch Program has served our nation admirably for 79 years through the advanced practices in nutritional education, and whereas the National School Lunch Program is dedicated to the health and academic achievement of our nation's children, and whereas recent research shows students that are receiving their healthiest meals at school. There is evidence of the continued need for nutrition education and awareness of value of school nutrition. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Education of Yuma School District 1, do hereby proclaim the week of October 13th, 14th for us, through the 17th, 2025 as National School Lunch Week. And we encourage all residents to become aware of the benefits of the National School Lunch Program and support good nutrition habits for their children in the hope of achieving more healthful citizenry, that's a weird word, citizenry for today and the future. It is therefore recommended that the governing board approve the National School Lunch Week official proclamation for Yuma School District 1 for the 25-26 school year.
Thank you. I have got to say that the school food today is nothing like what I had when I was in school. And I went to the same schools. It's truly amazing. It really is. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I would like to put a motion forward to approve the National School Lunch Resolution.
All right, we have a second.
I second.
Moved by Mr. Stoner, second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion, comments?
The food's good.
It's an understatement. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, item 6.5, consideration to approve rescheduling November's board meeting. Mr. Ponder.
Mr. President, members of the board, as November's regular board meeting falls on November 11th, which is the Veterans Day holiday, the governing board may discuss and vote to reschedule the meeting to an alternate date. So it is recommended that the governing board discuss and approve rescheduling the November board meeting to a different date.
You have a recommendation?
The 18th, the following Tuesday.
18th? I have to check with my...
I know, we all pull out our.
October.
I won't be in town.
I am good with that.
Need a motion?
I just want to make sure everybody else
Unfortunately,
is...
I'll be in Mazatlan on the 18th, so we'll be here.
Okay.
We can do a virtual meeting.
We can do okay.
But is that a good date for you, Mr. Stoner?
I can make it happen.
Okay.
I can be there.
Okay, so we'll have a quorum. So do we have a motion for moving the November meeting to November 18th?
I motion to move the meeting, November's meeting that is originally scheduled for the second Tuesday on November 11th, that is Veterans Day, to the following Tuesday, the 18th of November of 2025.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Rico, second by Mr. Stoner. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Ponder, would you see if we can make it something on the webpage or just get that information out so that folks know that it's been moved?
Absolutely.
All right. Future agenda items. I would like to add webpage layout discussion. I've always questioned the location of where the meeting minutes are, the past meetings. I know the link to the YouTube is good, but I would like to have a discussion with the board on a layout. And in the interim, perhaps you can sketch up something in PowerPoint to show maybe how we can have our forms easily accessible. I don't want the policy, it's 900 pages, right? But there are some parent-specific areas that maybe can be hyperlinked to them. We can the internet is a fantastic thing. We can utilize that as a little bit easier for people.
Sure. So one thing is our entire policy is available without a login through the ASBA website. I know it can be cumbersome and clumpy, but if you know what you're looking for, you can search in the top right, just like you would through Google, and you can find keywords that would identify with what you're looking for.
Right.
But we can, if you have recommendations on specific things you want to pull out, we can certainly make that happen.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else have any future agenda items?
Well, I concur with that, I would like to see those on the school website, on the district, not on the ASBA, because even for me, and I'm new to this, but for me to try to find policy and try to find those things, I have to go through a whole slew of different stuff to be able to find it. And when a parent is going to the District 1 website expecting to find things and it's not there, then that's where the confusion is at. They don't know to go to the ASBA website. So I think they should have it on our school district website, pull it off the ASBA and copy it over to ours so that it's accessible to the parents.
Okay. Any other items?
Yes. The recognition of the officer.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk with Mr. Ponder.
For the next month. Just maybe he can address it then.
Correct.
Okay, we'll let him address it then.
Unless you're asking the board to do it.
I would have Mr. Ponder talk about it.
So
for the
then
next
mention it
month.
to
Yes,
Mr.
you can
Ponder.
mention it to Mr. Ponder.
Okay. All right, then.
I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So to piggyback on what you want to do with the website, I would also like to discuss more openly, where are the forms at? Because we have had conversation in the past that the forms are readily available at all of the schools and at the administrative office for them to come in and pick up in person. But then I've heard from a few people in the last month or so that they've attempted to get those and they were not available. So we need to find out why they're not available and why they're, what do we need to do to make them available at the schools, at the district office? So if they can't find them on the website, that they can come in person and get those.
Okay.
And along those lines, I think as we're talking about parent resources, is a link on the website. So maybe showing us that, giving us a preview of that, and also for the parents of what does that look like and where are the specific resources for the parents.
Good idea.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we just let him know about that.
Yeah. Well, anybody else?
No.
All right. With that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Hang on. I'll be right back.
Yeah.